Hello and welcome back to this week's JAGcast. I'm Caden.
And I'm Kendrick.
And today we're going to be interviewing Mr. Plummer on his tenure at Blue Springs South, adversity, and his time in the military.
First question, Mr. Plummer, we heard this was your last year teaching, and we want to know what was your some of your favorite teaching moments?
Some of my favorite teaching moments, that's a tough one because I have a teaching moment just about every day. That's why it's going to be hard to give up this fun gig.
All right, I feel like.
You want a more specific?
Yeah,
something like.
Okay, I have a favorite lesson that I give that I'm getting ready to do, and I had both of you guys in class. You probably remember it. You remember the Sistine Chapel we decorated underneath the desk?
Yeah,
that was fun.
That one's a fun one because I set it up and I tell the kids, okay, I want you to decorate underneath the desk, and they're all like, what? And then I have a little cartoon character underneath, and you color it in. But seeing the kid's reaction initially, like, what? He really wants us to paint on the bottom of the desk?
Because that was like Michelangelo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was hanging he had the right upside down and everything.
You remembered.
I know.
I accomplished something.
And leading into our next question, what will you miss about teaching?
Interactions with awesome kids like you guys.
Oh. Thanks, Plummer.
Before you taught, we know you served in the military, and would you like to explain what you did while serving?
My official term was 91 Delta, which is an operating room technician. If you've ever seen the old TV show MASH, have you ever heard of the old show MASH?
I have.
It's an old show. They have helicopters come in, they have medics come in, check on the patients that need help. And that's basically what I did in the Army is I went out, checked on the patients, set up the tools for the surgery, and then put on my gown and helped the surgeon during surgery.
That's cool. So you're like a mobile medic, basically.
Yes.
A mobile surgeon.
Yep. MASH actually stands for Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
Oh, I did not know that. I did not know that's what MASH stood for.
Now you know.
But so for all the people that don't know what Desert Storm is, could you give like a quick summary of it?
Okay, a quick summary. You're asking a history teacher to do this?
Perfect guy.
Okay. So Saddam Hussein, dictator of Iraq, was needing money. He'd just finished fighting a long war against Iran, and it kind of ended up as neither side really won, and he's wanting to kind of recoup the money he spent in that war. Kuwait, a little country south of Iraq, has a lot of oil. He invades Kuwait. The president of the United States in this time period is President Bush Sr. He told Saddam Hussein, hey, get out of Kuwait or we'll make you. And Saddam Hussein's like, well, I'm not getting out of Kuwait. And President Bush said, well, we're going to give you a deadline, get out by January 15th, 1990, or we're going to make you get out. And he didn't get out, so it initiated Desert Storm, basically.
Wow.
It's interesting. Did your time in the military influence you to become a history teacher, or was there something else, or maybe was teaching history not your first thing that you thought of?
I always liked history. I was always what you'd say a history geek. Back in the day, I'm old, we didn't have internet, so I was one of these kids that would read encyclopedias for fun. I was just like, oh, this is interesting. I'd spend my free time reading encyclopedias, so I was always just kind of had a interest in history and geography and how the world works. And so I went in the Army mainly to help pay for school. And so I went in in the Army Reserve, which that's just your part-time soldier. We're called weekend warriors. We just go a weekend a month and 2 weeks in the summer. And so you can go to school and you can have a job. You can be a teacher. And then at a time of crisis like Desert Storm, you could get called up and then you're considered active duty.
All right. So that makes a lot more sense. And kids these days, you know how they are. They're a little just sometimes off the rails, and they compare school.
Sometimes
they compare school to such things as the military or prison. But is there anything that you learned in the military, like adversity wise, or just like, I don't know, that could like advice that you could give someone in school?
Well, I have I teach World War II as an elective, and I have 2 of those, and I get a lot of ROTC students in there, and ROTC kids are kind of interested in the military. And I always advise students that are asking about the military, I always tell them, hey, maybe consider going reserves or National Guard, which that's basically part-time. It's a weekend a month, 2 weeks in the summer. You go through regular training, go through basic, you go through what's called AIT, or advanced training. Once you do your training, then it's just a weekend a month. It's not a big commitment. You can be a student and a teacher, you can have a regular job. It's not as big a commitment. Find out if you like it, and if you really like it, then you can go back and say, hey, I want to be active duty and be full-time. But if you sign up right off the bat as full-time, that's a big commitment. You might find out you don't like it, but then you got to go every day for 4 years or 6 years, whatever your commitment is. The Reserve National Guard, you can kind of put your toes in the water and see if it's for you or not. So that's what I tell kids a lot. I recommend going Reserve National Guard route first.
What are some of the differences, like throughout your time of teaching? What are some like cultural differences that you've noticed in your time teaching at school?
Cultural differences,
or just any difference,
right? I always thought fashion would change quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I started in the 90s, teaching in the 90s, and the fashion was distinctly different then. But I would say ever since the 2000s, fashion has not really changed that much from what I've noticed.
Yeah.
And it's a cool thing, because back in my day, wearing certain labels was important. Like you had to wear Jordache jeans and Izod shirts, and you had to have Nike shoes, or you weren't cool, right?
Yeah.
And what I like in today's society, how you guys dress, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. I see kids that go to thrift stores, and they're proud of it. And like, oh, look, I got this at a thrift store, and I paid $2 for it.
Yeah.
And it's accepted, and I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's not just one set fashion. You guys, anything's accepted, and I like that. I think that's cool.
Yeah, I feel like you see a lot of like styles like come back. Like kids just kind of wear everything nowadays. It's not just like a set standard like the 70s, 80s, and 90s was. Mm-hmm. And even though this is your last year of teaching, what is some advice you'd give to someone that's like in their first year of the teaching profession or their first year of school? Like, what would you tell them since you've seen it all?
Or maybe if they want to go into a teaching profession.
Well, it's a great profession. I think going into education kind of gets a knock. Like they think all teachers are on food stamps or something, and we can't pay our bills. You're not going to get rich, but the longer you stick with it, it gets better economically. You kind of go up the pay scale. You gain more education. You get your bachelor's degree initially, and then you get your master's, and then after that you get what's called master's plus. I think they've upped it even more. It used to be master's plus 40. Now I think you get your specialist, and you just go up the ladder. And if you hang in there long enough, economically it's not bad. I mean, we're doing okay.
Yeah.
So it's a new teacher. I'd tell them it's going to be kind of hard at first because you're not making as much money. You're having to take classes on the side. All your lessons are new. You're trying to figure out what kind of lessons work and what kind don't. But if you hang in there, it just gets better with time.
Okay, last question to wrap it up. What are your plans after retiring?
I don't really have any set plans a whole lot. My wife has one more year. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to take care of the house and help her as much as I can while she's, going. She's a teacher too. So I'm going to pack her lunch and try to make her breakfast and, be a good husband, have the house clean for her and all that. Just make life easier for her. And then after she's done, then I don't know. We're just going to kind of wing it, I guess. I don't have any set plan yet.
Go where the wind blows.
Yeah. I might even travel and visit Buffalo. You never know.
That'd be great. Awesome. Buffalo's a great place.
Not really.
Thank you, Plummer, for your time. We love your stories. We love we love Plummer. This is Plummer's last year. We hope everyone enjoyed this week's JAGcast. I'm Caden.
And I'm Kendrick.
And I'm Mr. Plummer.
And we'll see you next time.